Did I catch your attention a little bit? Maybe? If you were distracted, maybe you became awake. Today I wanted to talk to you about, from the Better Speaking Series Manual. The importance of this and the whole series itself is so you can improve your public speaking. And what are we here to do? Not be vapid and improve our public speaking, right? The first one out of the manual is beginning your speech. Naturally, that's one of the things you have to do when you speak. You have to practice your introduction, how you're going to do at the very beginning of your speech. I'll go over several parts, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, the key criteria for a successful opening. So I'll start with 5 points for the successful opening and the key criteria for that. First thing is, get the attention of your audience. Maybe I got your attention at the beginning. I don't know. Did everybody see me? Yes. Everybody, normally at the beginning of the speech, might be a little bit distracted. They're doing something, not necessarily paying attention. So you want to capture that attention immediately so they can focus on you and pay attention to what you're trying to say. Of course, you need to introduce your topic. What are you going to be talking about? In Chris Anderson's book, TED Talks, he talks about through line. What is your through line? What is your purpose? What is the purpose of the speech? If there's no purpose, then people will be left out. The audience will be left saying, what did I just listen to? Was it just a story? What was the purpose of it? Normally when we're getting up in front of an audience, there's a purpose behind it. So make it clear as soon as possible to get that through line out there so the audience is aware, okay, this is what I'll be learning. Establish rapport. Make good eye contact with people. Smile. Those are key criteria, again, for establishing rapport. And show enthusiasm. If you're right here and say, today I'm going to talk to you about this exciting speech, how to do an introduction. How many of you within a couple of minutes are just going to, where's my phone? Whereas if you show enthusiasm, you change the tone of your voice, you're looking at people, you're making eye contact, you're smiling, you're drawing people in. Draw the audience in. Again, they will be more engaged, you're establishing rapport, and you'll be more believable as well. The fourth thing for the criteria for a successful opening is take less than 5%, 5 to 10% of the entire speech. Don't make the opening so extended that you've basically taken up half of your speech already. Most of the speeches, especially in the Competent Communicator Manual, are 5 to 7 minutes. If you do a 2-minute introduction, that leaves you very little time to actually get to the body and the content of your speech. And on that note also, let's make it sufficient that you have a good opening. Don't just say straight into the speech and you don't have that introduction to the topic. You don't have that, you're not providing that the audience member or the audience what's important about what you're talking about. So make sure you do introduce the topic, establish rapport, get attention of the audience, and make it condensed but not too condensed. So that's the key criteria for a successful opening. Now, as far as techniques, so opening techniques, you saw one that I just did right now. Do something that arouses curiosity or suspense. So if I start by saying, I have a secret to tell you. Let's go, because of changing my tone, I'm drawing you in a little bit. And you start paying attention. Well, what is he saying? I need to get closer to hear. That's one way. State the importance of your topic. So, for example, if you have speech about the overexposure of the sun, the speaker may begin by saying, a golden tan may be glamorous, but overexposure to the sun can age your skin prematurely and cause skin cancer. That's a topic, especially being in Florida, that we could all be concerned about. And you're drawing the audience in based on that importance of your topic. Another technique of opening, make a startling statement. For example, smoking kills. Well, maybe that's not too startling. A lot of people know that. More Americans die each year than were killed in battle during World War II and Vietnam together. Now that is more startling. You think that in wars there's so many people that have died, but actually smoking kills more people than that per year. Now that's startling. Now you're drawing people's attention again. Another way of opening, tell a story. Who doesn't like a story? A well-told story brings the audience into the presentation. You're, with very descriptive words, you're talking about your history when you were born and talking about let's say if you're from another country, how the environment was there. I've been to Panama. My wife is Panamanian. I enjoy the cool, brisk air on the beaches and the sand, relaxing, and bring the people in to the story so that way they feel that you're a part of it. And then when you're describing and you're making your point, it's more memorable. When future cases, they want to remember what you talked about. They remember your story and remember the point of your story as well. Another technique is ask a rhetorical question. So, for example, in a speech about first aid, a speaker could begin by saying, do you know what to do if your child begins to choke? Many people that haven't taken CPR wouldn't know. A rhetorical question doesn't require an answer, but you intend to reply to that answer. That would be your speech, replying to that answer. Now there are people that might know and they could answer, but asking a rhetorical question sets you up so you can answer that question. That's the benefit of using rhetorical questions. Another technique is begin with a quotation. I love quotations. One that from George Washington that I like is, example, whether it be good or bad. You know what? I just blanked out on the last part of that quote. Example, whether it be good or bad, is, no, lost it. Well, that's not a good example for the quote, but there's just coming up with a quote that you can use at the beginning of a speech. Again, draws the person in, and especially if you're talking about a specific person, let's say a famous person. There's tons of quotes by Abraham Lincoln. If you just search online, say quotes by Abraham Lincoln, or quotes on strength, or quotes on any particular topic, you'll come up with many different quotes that you can use at the beginning of your speech. Another way to draw people in. And sources of quotes, in addition to the internet, it could be friends, it could be family. Maybe it's something your mom or dad said when you were younger, and that's kept with you from until now. Co-workers, of course, the internet, books naturally are a good source of quotes, television, radio programs, and the benefit of that is they add authority, amusement, depending on the source, and they dramatize points. One that I remember now from Charlie Chaplin is, I wouldn't be a member of a club that would have me as a member. That's a natural thing I've used it before as I was leaving a particular Toastmasters club. It was enjoyable. It was memorable. And it's a good reference to Charlie Chaplin, of course. Another technique is reference the occasion. Is it a special occasion that you're preparing a speech for? Is it a wedding, or is it maybe you're providing a demonstration to your colleagues on a particular area? So reference the occasion. Were there speakers before you and you were present at those speeches, and there's something memorable from those previous speeches that refer to that? Say, like John mentioned in the previous speech, then go on with it and use that. Know that you're paying attention. You know, at least for sure, John is going to be paying attention to your speech because you paid attention to his. So that's a way of also opening. Naturally, humor, if you consider yourself funny or you have some decent jokes, you can use humor. Audience participation. Ask the group, the audience, a question. I've used this recently in a speech that I did. Do you like being healthy? Most people, I'd say in the audience, did. And you're already engaging them. They're raising your hand. They're paying attention to what you're saying. Demonstration, of course. That could be a way of doing something. Let's say you're showing somebody, you're presenting in front of a group about physical activity, and you do push-ups immediately when you start. You're demonstrating, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? That looks tiring. You can demonstrate as well. Now on to openings to avoid. Avoid acknowledging the amount of preparation you've done for this speech. Oh, I labored so many hours. I've lost so much sleep in preparation for this meeting. How is that benefiting your audience at all? It's not benefiting them at all. So don't use that. Avoid being dull and boring or vapid. Don't be vapid. If you have a monotone, I know I'm guilty of this sometimes because I tend to have a same tone in some things that I need to work on vocal variety. But focus on, if there's enthusiasm, then raise your voice. If you want to say something, then soften your voice. Those are things, make sure, try not to be dull and boring. That's something that we all need to work on. I think some are naturally gifted in that sense, but I know I have to work on that myself. Avoid delaying mention of the topic as well. At the beginning, you want to tell the audience, what am I in for? Why am I here? What is the benefit of this speech? Tell them at the beginning, within the first minute or so that way they're engaged. They'll be, okay, that's an interesting topic. Let me focus on this. This is important. Or, if it's not important to them, well, I mean, tough loss on them. You'll be presenting. There's other people out here that are going to be benefiting. In conclusion, the importance of this is critical. This is where you have your audience's attention or not. When you introduce or you open a speech, you want to engage the audience so that they're with you the entire time that you're presenting. As opposed to if your opening is dull or monotone or you're not getting to the point, then you're losing your audience immediately, especially in a larger venue. And you'll see it at the very end. Again, practice your opening. Even if you don't necessarily write your speech, it's good to have a proper opening so that way you're aware and you don't miss any points that you want to make. And that's the importance of preparing for your introduction or opening a speech. Mr. Toastmaster.